Have you ever wondered how a tiny seed can split a stone? Let me tell you a secret. It starts with a whisper of courage. Eli worked from dawn till dusk, his calloused hands gripping the splintered handle of his rusty axe. Each swing echoed through the silent forest, but no matter how many logs he chopped, his pockets stayed empty. The villagers rarely paid him. A crust of bread here, a dented coin there. His only treasure was a tiny seed tucked in a leather pouch around his neck. His father had given it to him on his deathbed, whispering, "When the world feels heavy, plant this. It will grow what you need." Eli didn't understand, but he clung to those words like a prayer. One chilly morning, the village elder approached him. The old man's eyes gleamed like polished coal as he held out a shiny new axe. "A trade," he said. "Your old axe for this one. It'll make your work swift as a river." Eli hesitated. His father's axe was all he had left. But the elder's voice dripped like honey. "Trust me, boy. You'll thank me later." Eli handed over the axe. For a day, the new blade sang, splitting wood like butter. But on the second swing, the handle snapped. The elder laughed from afar. Axe for an axe, fair and square. Eli's chest tightened. Betrayal tasted bitter, like burnt bark. He stumbled to the rocky cliff at the forest's edge, clutching the seed. "What good are you?" he shouted, digging a hole with bare hands. The wind hissed through the pines as he buried the seed. Grow a new axe? Grow food? Grow anything. The soil swallowed the seed, silent and cold. Eli sat there until the moon rose, his patched tunic fluttering like a flag of defeat. "Father," he whispered, "you were wrong." Days dragged by, heavy as the rocks on the cliff. Every morning, Eli climbed the hill, hoping to see a sign of life. But the soil stayed bare, mocking him. "Even the earth betrays me," he shouted at the sky, kicking a pebble into the void. His voice echoed back, hollow. That night, clouds swallowed the moon, and a storm roared to life. Rain lashed the cliff like angry claws, and thunder shook the ground. Lightning split the sky. And there in the flash, Eli saw it. A tiny sprout, no taller than his thumb, trembled in the mud. Its leaves bent sideways under the wind's fury, but its stem held firm. Eli froze. "You are alive," he whispered. Without thinking, he ripped off his cloak and lunged forward, shielding the sprout with his body. Rain soaked his tunic, and cold bit his bones. "Why am I helping you?" he muttered through chattering teeth. The sprout quivered, its leaves brushing his hand. For a heartbeat, Eli imagined it spoke. "Because you're not alone." The storm raged on. Eli curled tighter around the sprout, his anger melting into something warmer, a stubborn spark he'd forgotten. "You're just like me," he said, laughing bitterly. "Stuck in the mud, fighting a storm you didn't ask for." Lightning flashed again, and this time he saw it, thin roots, pale as spider silk, clawing into the soil beneath the sprout. "What's that?" he breathed. But the dark swallowed the answer. Morning came, quiet and bruised. Eli awoke stiff and shivering. The storm had washed the soil away, revealing the truth. The sprout's roots had coiled around a massive boulder buried deep below. They pressed against the stone like clenched fists, as if the tiny plant meant to crush it. Eli crouched, tracing the roots with a calloused finger. "You've been fighting all this time," he murmured, "and I never even saw." The sprout stood taller now, leaves glistening with dew. Eli's chest tightened, not with rage, but a strange new hope. "Maybe," he said, voice cracking, "maybe we're both stronger than we look." Years passed, and the little seed became a mighty oak. Its branches arched like arms, shielding Eli from sun and rain, and it's what gave him bowls to trade, tools to build, and fires to warm his lonely nights. But the oak's greatest gift was hope, a quiet reminder that even broken things could grow. One autumn morning, the village elder returned. His robes were finer now, his smirk sharper. "That tree's mine," he declared, pointing a bony finger. "You planted it with my axe." The villagers gathered, murmuring. Eli rose slowly, his calloused hand resting on the oak's trunk. "You took my axe," he said, voice steady as stone, "but not my roots." The elder laughed, a dry, crackling sound. "Roots? What good are roots against an axe?" As if answering, a sudden wind shook the oak. Leaves rustled like whispers, and the ground trembled. Then, crack, the earth split, revealing what lay beneath. Roots thicker than a man's leg, coiled around the boulder like serpents, crushing it into dust. The villagers gasped. A child pointed. A woman clasped her hands. The elder's smirk vanished, replaced by a pallor of fear. Eli knelt, brushing his palm over the exposed roots. "A tree's strength isn't in its branches," he said softly, "but in the roots that weather the storm." For a moment, silence hung heavy. Then the elder turned, shoulders hunched, and shuffled away. The villagers erupted into cheers, but Eli didn't smile. He simply pressed his forehead to the oak's bark, feeling the hum of life beneath. The wind carried the elder's muttered curse, but Eli didn't hear it. He was listening to something deeper, the quiet song of roots pushing through darkness, of courage growing where light once couldn't reach. Moral of the story: courage blooms in the darkest hours.